Welcome. This is a virtual public meeting, and it deals with the telecommunication tower that's proposed for Cambridge Road in Woodville. The applicant is WSP and Bell. I guess how we'll go from here is, so I want to make it clear that there's no evaluation or decisions have been made at this point, and we're looking for input from the public. And gives the applicant also a chance to present the proposal directly to those that are interested, and allows neighbors to ask questions and provide early comments. We have planner Mark Fredericks, Chris Forgard, and Wilder Hatt, and Peter Landers, part of the Bell staff, I assume. And what I can do now is turn it over to Mark Fredericks, the planner, to give his presentation. If you want to go ahead, Mark.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and greetings. This is a public meeting, a step in the municipal process for a proposed telecommunication tower within the County of Kings. The proposed tower is located behind 1194 Cambridge Road in the wooded area in the community of Woodville. This map shows kind of the property that it's on and the proposed location of the tower. The proposed tower is located again on vacant land in a wooded area, approximately 280 meters from the nearest home. The tower is intended to bring improved cellular service to residents and local businesses. The land use zoning in the area is a mix of kind of agricultural zones. The subject property itself is primarily in the rural mixed use zone, or A2. That's shown here in the kind of darker brown color. The tower is proposed again in that wooded corner of the property shown here, near Highway 101. In this area, while it is agricultural area, the proposed tower is on location where land is not currently being farmed. In terms of jurisdiction, this is a somewhat unique application from the land use planning perspective. It's not the municipality who has deciding ability here. It's ultimately the federal government that has the approval authority to license and approve installations of telecommunication towers, be those radio or cellular or otherwise. However, municipalities do play a role in the process when they have public consultation policies, and Kings County is one of those municipalities. So we've got policy that relates to the siting of the tower, and we work with the applicants on positioning the tower to satisfy those setback requirements. And we look at that for a variety of reasons, but ultimately the municipality will host public consultation, and the municipal council will provide a motion of support or non-support. This is sort of what the municipal portion of the process looks like. And again, this is only one step in the process for Bell themselves. They ultimately have to submit a variety of approvals to the federal government. The municipal portion, however, primarily looks at public consultation. So we've received an application from WSP, who's working with Bell on this application. We look at the location and the design requirements, discuss with staff, and we went back and forth on that a little bit to find a site that worked. We notified 19 surrounding property owners. Those are the lands within 1,000 feet. We notify them by letter mail, and this video recording will be available online beginning a public comment period for 30 days. Following that, a report will be considered by the Planning Advisory Committee, who will make a recommendation to Municipal Council. And Municipal Council is then able to offer their support or non-support for the proposed tower. But again, the primary purpose of the municipalities involved is this large bold section here, is to consult the public. So the point of these meetings is to gather public input and hear any concerns and address those concerns as best we can. So again, the purpose of why municipalities are sometimes involved, we are involved in the protection of land uses, be those residential areas or tourist sites, etc., from any potential adverse impacts of telecommunication towers. And we also are here to ensure that the concerns of residents and business owners are heard and addressed. So to obtain municipal support, the applicants are asked to address reasonable concerns from the residents. So if we do receive comments and concerns, we look to the applicant's ability to respond to those. We also ensure that the proposed site is not within its 3 times its height from a house, a school, or a hospital. Those are policies that are all contained within the municipal planning strategy. And we also seek some evidence that the installation will satisfy the federal health and safety standards of Safety Code 6. So in order to be considered for municipal approval, the applicants, again, look at co-location, and in this case, the applicants were not able to find an existing or a suitable existing structure located nearby to satisfy the kind of coverage objective. Otherwise, sometimes there are existing towers where where Bell's equipment could be co-located on a tower that might be owned by another provider or vice versa. It's intended that this tower would be large enough to accommodate other providers to co-locate on this tower. The purpose of that, again, is to minimize the number of overall towers in an area. So whenever co-location is possible, we certainly encourage that, as well as the federal government looks at that co-location aspect as well. And within the municipality of Kings, a new planning strategy has increased the distance from the tower. Our new municipal planning strategy now looks to increase it from this used to be 2 times the tower height from the nearest home. It's now 3 times the tower height to the nearest home, a school or hospital, but there are no schools or hospitals within the vicinity. In this case, we're looking at the distance of 3 times the tower height to the nearest home. In this case, it's a 75-meter tower. 3 times 75 is 225 meters. So that's fairly close, fairly good distance, but the nearest home is over approximately 280 meters. So the proposed location does satisfy the municipality's siting requirements of 3 times the tower height. So that's kind of the municipal side of the process. Again, we're here to just sort of gather public comment. We give a bit of a background on what our policies are trying to do, what our objectives are here. We want to hear from the local public, and we will continue to be involved in the process. Ultimately, if the federal government provides their approval, Bell or through WSP or otherwise would still be required to come back to the municipality for the construction phase. And during that construction phase, permits are issued, and the municipality ensures that security fencing is installed, and in certain cases, landscaping and view screening is also required. So that's just to say that the municipality begins in the process at an early stage, but also is involved at the very end of the process when the tower is being constructed. That's sort of the municipal process. I'm going to swap the screen to Jess, I believe, who has a presentation.
I do.
Make Jess the presenter.
This is okay. Go ahead, Jess.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark, for your presentation. Some of my stuff will be very similar, just going through the site and the improvements that will be made to Cambridge with the installation of this new tower. So good morning to everyone who is tuned in and listening. My name is Jess Harper, and I'm a planner at WSP Canada Inc., and I'm representing Bell Mobility in the public consultation for a proposed telecommunication tower in Cambridge, which is located in the municipality of the County of Kings. As noted earlier, also present here on the line with me are Chris, Peter, and Wilder, representatives for Bell Mobility, and here able to answer questions at the end of the presentation, either from Mark or from the councillor. So a brief overview of what I will be talking about here today. So we're going to be looking at wireless communication within Cambridge, the criteria that go into site selection for proposed tower, the design, health and safety of the proposed tower, as well as the consultation process that has been followed. So antenna and radio installations are federally regulated, but as part of the consultation process, Innovation, Science and Economic Development, ICED Canada, we are formerly Industry Canada, do require proponents to consult with the local land use authority. In this case, it's the municipality of the County of Kings and the public and residents. So in this case, the municipality, as Mark has said, have adopted antenna systems policies within their municipal planning strategy. And it's those policies and process that we are following for this proposed tower. And it's just worth noting that since 2008, the popularity of wireless technology has grown significantly in Canada. So a few notes here, nearly 70% of all 911 calls come from mobile phones. 88% of internet users in Canada have access to a mobile phone. And in 2016, approximately 1/3 of Canadian households subscribed to mobile service only. So some benefits of wireless service. So as communities, businesses, and emergency services grow more dependent on wireless service, it's important to ensure that there is high quality service available. Now, in order to provide high quality service to these areas, the necessary infrastructure needs to be in place to create high speed and a reliable network. More and more now, we're seeing that people are using their mobile phones to pay for items and services. For example, you go to many markets nowadays, and a lot of the vendors have attachments to their cell phones that enable them to make payments. So Bell is proposing to install a 75-meter tower north of Highway 101, south of Brooklyn Street, to deliver the dependable, high-speed, high-quality wireless service that Canadians have come to expect. So it is worth noting, as Mark has also noted, that the proposed site is located greater than 3 times the tower height from any dwellings, schools, or hospitals. So we do satisfy the municipality's antenna policies. So now, why is a tower required in this location? The quality of service in Cambridge area does not currently meet Bell standard and the needs of local residents, businesses, owners, and visitors to the Cambridge area. The goal is to improve the wireless service for residents, businesses, and visitors within the municipality and the Cambridge area. And the map here just shows me the little locator, as previously mentioned, to where the site is located off of Cambridge Road. I'll just go through this quickly as Mark has already gone into it. The proposed tower will be located within the municipality's agricultural land designation, and it is zoned rural mixed use. The proposed tower will occupy approximately 2,100 square meters of leased space from the property owner and will be accessed through an access and utility easement off of Cambridge Road. So this slide indicates the network coverage currently servicing the Cambridge area, as well as the network coverage after the proposed telecommunication tower is installed. So you can see here, as noted, that blue denotes very good coverage, green denotes good coverage, yellow okay coverage, red poor, and gray denotes no coverage. You can see in the before map where we're pointing to the proposed tower location, there is some green around there. It says good coverage, but there are also many pockets of poor coverage. And then if you compare it with the after map, you can see that the blue very good coverage is expanded quite significantly to improve the cell phone coverage area for Cambridge. So when Bell first looks at selecting a site for network improvement, co-location on existing towers or structures is investigated. As mentioned, there were no existing towers within vicinity to the proposed location that met the requirements to improve Bell's network. Now, there are a list of criteria that need to line up in order for a site to be considered for a proposed tower. It's not just simply this site meets the coverage and capacity requirements. We have to consider the land use authority's antenna setting policy. And in this case, as mentioned, the municipality does have policy that needs to be followed. The main one in this case that we made sure was followed was being located at greater than 3 times the tower height from any homes, schools, or hospitals. As well, Bell isn't always necessarily the landowner for the proposed towers, so you need to have a willing landlord that is able to enter into a lease agreement with Bell for the tower. There's also line of sight, topography, and environmental considerations that all need to be put into place when a site is selected for a proposed telecommunication tower. This slide just shows a couple of the other alternative sites that during the investigation were looked at by Bell. It's worth noting that the other 3 sites we looked at wouldn't have met the policy to be located within 3 times the tower height of the existing dwelling. So that is why the proposed site is what is before you. This slide illustrates an elevation of the proposed tower. It is a 75-meter self-support lattice tower, and located at the bottom of the tower is a fence with a lockable gate, which will prevent access to the general public. So I've got a few slides here to show. They show before and after photos with a superimposed image of the proposed tower. This first one you're looking at is looking northeast from Highway 101. The second one here is looking southeast from Cambridge Road. And the last one here is looking northeast from the overpass on Cambridge Road over Highway 101. Now, one of the main questions that is asked regarding telecommunication towers is it safe? Now, the consensus among Canadian health organizations and the scientific community is that wireless antennas are safe. Shown on the slide here are some quotes taken that indicate there is no convincing or consistent evidence that the weak RF signals from base stations cause adverse health effects. As also noted, Health Canada continuously monitor the RF signals to ensure the level of safety for all residents. As required by ISED, Bell completed a preliminary study to predict the non-ionizing radiation levels anticipated to be produced by the proposed telecommunication tower. And based on this study, the predicted levels would not exceed the uncontrolled environmental limits as set by Health Canada in their Safety Code 6 guidelines. The illustration shown here on the slide is taken from the Government of Canada's website from Health Canada. And what this shows is it indicates what Canada's limit is for telecommunication towers. It also illustrates how the Canadian government have incorporated a safety margin of at least 50 times from the threshold for a possible adverse health effect. So while all of Bell's towers operate well below the maximum level that is allowed under Health Canada's guidelines for Canadian limits, there is still a 50 times safety margin that has to be taken into consideration. So if we can see my mouse here, while we have to be located under here, there is still this margin here. So basically, to wrap that part up is that yes, this telecommunication tower and all telecommunication towers operated by Bell are safe. So I just have a few slides here to kind of go through the consultation process on our end that we have completed. The first step for us is the proposal. So Bell proposes the site in accordance with the municipality's antenna policies. Bell submits a plan, initiates a dialogue with the municipality. The second step is notification. So an on-site sign was posted, mail-out notices were distributed, and a newspaper advertisement were all complete 2 weeks prior to today's virtual public meeting to notify the local residents and businesses and property owners of this application and inviting them to the consultation process. The third step, which is where we are now, is the consultation. So following today's virtual public meeting, so December 1st, this recording will be posted live and residents are invited to comment for 30 days. So following the consultation is our response step. So all reasonable and relevant concerns will be addressed by Bell or the municipality, and comments are provided to the municipality upon completion of the consultation process. The final step is approval, where a summary of all consultation, including the comments and responses received, is shared with the municipality, and an application is submitted for concurrence. Just to wrap up here, Bell is committed to working with the municipality as well as area residents and welcomes any comments or questions from the community in order to improve the wireless service. And then we are here for any questions that anyone might have. I'll stop sharing here and pass it back over to you guys.
Thanks, Jess. I guess we'll turn this over to one of the Bell staff. I don't know who wishes to go further with it, Chris or Peter or Wilder.
Yeah, I'm not, Chris Fournier speaking. I'm not sure if, we have anything to add on top of what Bell has mentioned, but super happy to answer any questions that the councillor or staff have, and anything ongoing that we'd receive from the public in the next 30 days. But I'll leave it to Peter. Looks like you might have something to say. Nope, you're on mute.
Sorry, didn't want to bother you with rustling papers. Yeah, no, if anybody has any questions about Safety Code 6 or any of that stuff, they can, they can ask away, or, but just pretty much like Jess indicated, we are well within Safety Code 6 limits, even at the gates of the property. So the many times the height away is more than enough to provide a safe distance.
And I would just add that my contact information is certainly available to any member of the public or anyone on the meeting or anyone on the call. If you're watching this pre-recorded video and you've got any comments to add, you can reach me by telephone at 690-6276 or by email at mfredericks@canyonofkings.ca. And those contact details are on the screen right now.
I believe that's the comments are for the next 30 days. Is that correct, Mark?
That's right. So we'll leave that open until kind of the 1st or 2nd of January.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments or questions regarding this proposal? And I guess Mark covered it, as you can contact him, and we'll go from there, I guess.
Yeah, if we receive any comments, we'll openly share those with the applicants, and we'll work together on any responses to those comments or questions.
Well, thanks everybody for attending, and we'll go from here and let the process begin.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.